Welcome back for part 4, where I'm going to cover a few miscellaneous extras that I didn't cover during the rest of the demonstration. This is an equipment card. This is the Sword of Kalas. Just like ships and personnel, it plays to your headquarters. It also has a title. This one is unique. This is the Sword of Kalas. There's no other Sword of Kalas. So you can only have one in play. It has a cost, just like the other card types. You play it, and it's got card text, and you carry it around with your personnel. You can beam it up just like personnel. It's on your ship. The reason this is a good card to play with Klingons. The reason it's not in this deck is it's an artifact. It's got text that says, to play this card, you must have completed a mission requiring acquisition, anthropology, or archaeology. And just none of these missions have those skills on it. But another Klingon deck might be very happy to use this card. This mission is a little different than the other ones. Most of your missions you can just automatically attempt. You know, to attempt one of your non-headquarters missions, you need somebody who matches an icon on the mission. This mission says any affiliation except Borg may attempt it. This one doesn't have the Klingon icon at the bottom, so you wouldn't normally be able to attempt it. But it has text on it that says you may attempt to complete this mission using your Klingon personnel with these requirements. And it gives a whole separate set of requirements: leadership, officer, treachery, and strength greater than 30. Just strategy for this deck, you probably won't attempt this mission unless you go out and do battle for 10 extra points, because then you can win with 3 30-point missions, which are a lot easier than this brute force, your 40-point mission. Another thing I didn't mention with battle, anytime you do combat, personnel battle, or engagement, ship battle, all of your involved cards are stopped. So that's the only thing they're going to be doing this turn. Something with facing dilemmas. If you're at a planet mission here, and you're attempting with 8, and you flip up the first in the stack, it's a space dilemma, it doesn't match. It is just... It immediately goes under the mission. I mean, I often just let my opponent take it back. Whatever, who cares? It's it's a high stakes tournament. But that's theoretically what happens when you've got a don't match the icon appropriately. And then you encounter this dilemma. It's 6 cost. And then you get to this 2-cost dilemma. I mean, that's a lot of counters. You probably didn't attempt this many. If you say they only had 8 to spend, you flip over this one. That's 2 more cost. It's you can't afford it. You accidentally did the math wrong. Then this goes under. Now, what if your opponent gives you dilemmas that stop everybody? So we did this. Everyone gets stopped by Rogue Borg ambush, and you had 1 dilemma left. The remaining dilemma automatically gets overcome. So you can't, there's a reason not to overkill the mission attempt. Some of, I don't want to put those in the discard pile. That'll confuse me later. Some of your personnel have when you play text. I do try to avoid that in new player decks, just because you really get tunnel vision when you're in your play and draw cards. I want to spend some counters to draw cards. I just want to highlight some of them real quickly that you might actually use. Oh yeah, we had Kern over here. Kern and Worf both have the text, when you play this personnel, each opponent draws a card. You kind of need to remember to remind your opponent to draw a card when you play these. The reason why they do that is they're pretty severely undercosted. Otherwise, usually to get 6 skills and 2 8s and attributes, you'd be paying more than 2 costs for personnel. So that's all that's going on here. Is it's a subtle extra cost there. Also, flavor-wise, these guys aren't the highly respected by the Empire, because everyone thinks Moog was a traitor. So you're giving your opponent some resources. They aren't actually traitors. We love them very much. New Doc when you play this personnel, you may discard a card from hand to take a card from your discard pile into hand. That's super useful. It gets you back all these powerful interrupts that I showed how you can use them to bust through the dilemmas and solve the mission. That's mostly what you're going to get back with new Doc. I will often just hold him in hand until I'm ready to go with him. And we've got Kortar here. When you play this personnel, you may play up to 2 Klingon personnel from your discard pile as if they were in your hand. So he's another one that it's nice to hold back. So, say someone gets killed by Rogue Borg ambush, you can play him on your turn. And then, okay, let's see, I'll play 2. I'll play Worf for 2 more. Your opponent still draws the card. You're playing him. Some cards tell you to place a card somewhere. That gets past all of this when you play the personnel. None of that's in this deck. And there are plenty of card interactions I'm not covering in here. There's a big universe in this game. There are years and years and years of cards, and there's no rotation, so it's a huge, rich universe. I'm not going to cover everything, but that should be enough to get you to the point where you can sit down across from somebody else that maybe you also printed them out a deck. I've got plenty of other decks that are easy for new players to pick up. You could sit across from them and say, let's play a game. It's fun. I love it. Thank you for listening.